Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm frustrated.
Why? With
Like,
Comcast?
no, Comcast actually is working now, but that Heroku thing won't work.
Yep. So why is it not working?
I don't know. I was diligent. I did a fresh snapshot.
I know. And you probably missed some steps somewhere along the way.
All right. Well, let's chat about that sometime.
Yep.
I mean, I think I understand it, and actually, I have a lot of feedback on the write up.
Hmm.
Um,
Hey, this is live broadcast, so just so you know.
that's fine. Um, just in terms of um, for my understanding.
Can you
How
edit, can you edit Markdown,
I don't know. What do I edit it with?
plain text?
Yeah, that's fine. Um, I can do that.
So it should be easy. We can enable everything. As long as you are okay with editing Markdown, you can edit the site, no problem.
Okay. All right. Um, yeah. Well, we can talk about how to do that.
Yeah.
It looks like Mel.
Hey, Mel, Mr. Gibson. Oh, Mr. Morrison. I don't know why I called always Mel Gibson. Just confuse it. It's the same thing, is it? Gibson is a movie star, right?
Yeah.
Unable to hear you. I know you're speaking, but unable to hear you. So, by the way, Mel succeeded with the Heroku's exercise that we have.
I'm the only one who hasn't.
Hey, Mel, your audio is not working.
Is there a way to type a chat on that? Yeah. Why did you?
What happened?
You turned my camera on.
Yeah. Okay. So it is doable, huh? Okay, okay. Huh. I can totally toggle everything apparently. So that is actually a privacy bug. I shouldn't be able to turn your camera on and off without your permission.
Exactly.
It's a security and privacy bug. So I just muted you, which is fine, but I should not be able to unmute you.
You
If you
did.
turn your video camera off, I should not be able to turn it back on. That is a bug in Google Hangout. And it's a privacy bug.
All right, my kids are waking up, so this I'm gonna mute myself before
A mute is fine.
they
And
walk in and
yep.
complain about waking up at 10 a.m.
Do you agree with this bug being a bug?
Yes.
It's a privacy bug. It's a bad one. That's what I was trying, and it turns out that you can unmute. You can you can start up video camera on a remote computer, which is bad behavior. Bad Google, bad. Wow. I can hear both of you. Okay, Mel, that's good, but I cannot hear you. So maybe your microphone needs to be tweaked.
No, because I muted myself because my kids are now awake.
Yeah.
At least one of them is. I don't think one of them is going to get up until the crack of noon.
Noon is too early, man. What are you talking about? Noon is way too early. They have funky things in Google. I mean, I cannot believe and imagine. These things are just crazy. Wow. This is the best. Yeah.
So how many people are streaming this live, or are we just doing this? This is going to be for our Camo to Commerce interview, right? The look you have right now.
That's correct. With beard and horns, everything. That's right.
Who are you streaming this to? You say it's live, but
Public. It's going public.
is anybody? Can you tell if anybody's watching it?
Yeah, only 3 people, you, me, and Mel.
Okay, so we're not actually going out to the whole internet right now.
No. That's why I'm doing it. Otherwise, I would not do it.
All right, so
Mel is typing something. Hi, Mel. I'm logging off and on to see everything.
here we go.
Come back.
How's
Yeah. That's a good question. And that was not a question and not a comment. It was just a compliment to the question.
You can do all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah. This one is good. Where did you find this? Glasses?
Eyewear. Oh, here you go. This is the pirate guy.
No, the official.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, you can.
All right, that's better. You guys are having way too much fun.
I think so.
I guess so. Hi, Michael.
Professor.
Oh, man. That's a pirate professor today. I don't know what kind of a hat. Is it? Oh, the graduation hat. Ah, there we go. Just the pirate is good. I need to remove this. Now I look for proper hat. So Google provides so many tools here. Wow.
Yeah.
Professional grade.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to delete the apps now.
I know, this is just stupidity. So let's kill it.
We have mutiny on the bounty.
I know.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, sir.
Morning, Michael.
Hey, quick question, Nilesh. Was it intentional to reset the Cloud Genius username password for me?
Not necessarily. But let me give you a brief idea. Your account still works with the old login name. That is not changing. However, what we are going to do for the next portion, the DevOps portion of it, is that we have a new site with content that I'm building up, and which requires a new login, which is called the school login or Cloud Genius login. So each one of you will have an account and an email password provided to you. which will give you access to a new site, different site. The old login will work with the old account, no problem.
Perfect.
However,
I just wanted to verify.
However, probably after I make sure that everybody knows this change, I will actually switch over everybody to use one account, which is the school account. That change will happen probably by Monday after I talk to everybody, because I want to make sure I talk to everybody before I switch over. And so we'll just have one login just for the school login, and then everybody logs in using the same account. It will give you access to a new site that I'm not sure. Mel, I think, saw it already, as he did his homework assignment for the Heroku part, completed successfully. So if you look at my desktop, you should be able to see the new site that I'm going to project in just a second. So the new site kind of sort of looks like this. And it has all the technology course material, and you can follow these steps diligently and go along, and all the write-ups are available here in form of steps to do that you did already. Are you able to see my site, my desktop?
I am, yeah.
Okay. So when you are here, let's see, where am I? Michael, Mel, you, okay, to me. That's good. So now back to my desktop, which is I have a new site, and that's what we intend to use, the cloud DevOps material showing up here, so we can do certain steps. For example, this guy Shahul provided some write-up and instruction on how to use Vagrant, and he succeeded. So those are the instructions that came from him that I have it on the site as an example for you. But then there are other cases that we go through in the class that are also available here, and I'm adding more as I'm migrating from the old site, which is this one. The content I'm migrating from the old site location over to this new location. So you're probably familiar with this old location already, and most of you have already completed and all these steps from this location. So content from here is migrating to here, and with one common login for everybody. So for example, all the members that are in the Cloud Genius class right now, I have an account created for them here. And so each one of you have an account. Like Michael Zuckerman never logged in, but I can maybe send him a reminder, like email instructions to Michael. And there we go. So that's the email you will receive with instructions for password and login name for this new site. Once you log in here, you will access not only this site, but also this site, which is under construction. Using starting our DevOps course here. And our login to this will be streamlined. And this actually points back to our discussion that Mel had with me and also in the class. Hey, Murugan.
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes. So what Mel was talking about is this integration between Active Directory and other services, like the local Active Directory and Active Directory in Windows Azure, or maybe things like the IAM from Amazon, integrating that back to your local infrastructure for identity verification and login passwords and things like that. You need to mute the group so we can keep you on the screen. The way to keep me on the screen is to click on my name. You cannot, it won't switch away. So there are like these 5 pictures that show at the bottom. If you click on my name, then that screen becomes your screen. And so if I say, for example, click on Michael, then I'm able to see only Michael's screen, and the screens will not switch over even if somebody's talking. That the way you can control who's watching what screen. Each one of us can have a different view into the same application. So I'm now watching Daniel, for example. I'm now watching Mel. And so Mel, you were saying about this integration between Active Directory and remote services, like Windows Azure and something else, for example. or local Active Directory in a small business situation or a medium-sized business.
Or I'm thinking of a business who uses Active Directory for all of their, authentication, single sign-on, and so forth.
Right.
When they engage a public or private, for that matter, cloud service, which uses a different directory service, or even the same, even two Active Directory services, they're going to want to link them together so they don't have to sign into two different ones. They want to keep that single sign-on capability. So I think that's going to be a challenge for a lot of them. And I've read a lot about the subject, about some of the challenges, and it appears that it's going to be a pretty big effort for a lot of people unless they have their own Active Directories in a very clean state. A lot of companies who've had it for several years, they tend to get lazy and sloppy with it. They're good about adding new people on, but they're not good about removing old entries for old services or old people, old users.
Right.
So when it comes to, for example, when they want to contract an Azure service and integrate their Active Directories and federate the two in their terminology, the first thing they probably should do is clean up their own Active Directory in-house.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I've read is that it can be very expensive. So does Azure charge per user or per resource on Active Directory when they federate between the two?
I don't know about the charge prices for Active Directory specific, but I think most businesses in the cloud tend to charge on a per user basis. That's the way to make money from a big size opportunity while giving away products at a very low price to small people. If you charge per user, that's the dominant pricing model most companies have, at least in the cloud services space. It's per user per month. Very, very common.
So if they have an Active Directory with 10,000 users and they've only got 1,000 active, that could get very expensive for them.
It can become very expensive for no reason because they're actually using only so many. So the newer methods that involve some work that clean up old 10,000 numbers down to say only 1,000 that's actively being used, that if people don't want to do the cleanups, and so Michael is adding a point, add to Mel's point, when companies acquire other businesses, IT ops has to add a purchased company, either existing AD, which is absolutely accurate, Michael. Thank you. And so you bring in a company A into the existing company, and now you have another company B also. So all these companies that get acquired, A and B, that you become a part of the main company, the Active Directory has to get integrated, and so your user base grows. But as a consequence, some of the unused portions of AD also grows. So you want to clean that up in order to optimize on pricing and your cost structure for using any kind of integration services away from your primary Active Directory. So that's one. Now, in a smaller example on this scale right now, you see just for the class, and some users haven't even added here, but the class shows these are the these are the users inside my Google Apps for your domain control panel that you probably have seen already in when you were setting Google Apps on your own. Now, this authentication method, I have been able to successfully integrate into a third-party service, which is not Google. And I will demonstrate that quickly. And here is something you can do. So this is WordPress, as you can see. And you can go to WordPress and go to menus and find users. So that you are probably familiar with already. Now, what I have been able to do is, let me just get straight to the demo. I'll log out of WordPress. And I'll also log out of my WordPress. So I cannot actually now log in using WordPress. Like here, I need to go through Google in order to go to WordPress. And that's the integration I did. You can see as soon as I type Cloud Genius and say /WP login and go there, it takes me straight to Google. And here I need to log in through Google account. and it'll go back to WordPress. Log in via Cloud Genius like this. And that integration, something's wrong.
So if they're integrated, should it not log you directly into WordPress?
That is what is expected, but I don't know why it's not working. But let me clean up, and I made it to work last night. So that's something I'm integrating right now between a third-party service. So there are two services here. One being Google Apps. Together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that integration has to be element by element. And that happens through a protocol called OAuth.
OAuth 2?
Yeah. This protocol is used for user authentication across Google Apps and any other service. So that's the recommended protocol that Google recommends, and that Twitter recommends, and that Facebook recommends, and Google Apps, even Gmail will recommend this protocol for integration among users in one domain with a third-party service. So you will have integration between, say, Google Apps and Salesforce.com.
Is that Active Directory aware?
Yes, and this can be used to integrate with Active Directory with another third-party module. So the idea behind this, and I hope it doesn't break my Hangout, because that's the reason I'm running into this issue. If I log out of here, I hope it doesn't break my Hangout. And that's the concern I have. If I log out of my Cloud Genius account, I'm worried that it will break our video session that's happening right now. And that is the reason why I'm not logging out. But I want to actually log out of, maybe I'll use a different browser. That's the way to show. So I'm going to a different browser. And here I'm going to say the Cloud Genius on one window, and in another window I'll go gmail.com. And here I log into our Cloud Genius account. I log out, sign out of my Cloud Genius domain, and remove the account. There we go, removed all. Now go to Cloud Genius, try logging in at the very bottom, like this. And here, you're probably familiar with this already, but the new integration testing I'm doing is actually at this location. So here it automatically jumps to Cloud Genius account. As you see, I'm typing it again, be a Cloud Genius WP login. And that's the login sign-in page. As soon as I go there, it automatically jumps to Google, where I sign in, and it will take me back to Cloud Genius in a logged in state. And it did not work for some reason. So I need to figure out why, but the idea is it's a work in progress that I'm developing using OAuth to connect between one service to another. And what you will see once I succeed is that this service, Google Apps, connects to user accounts through this protocol.
Could you choose to use a different app? Say, now you wouldn't do this, but is it possible to use WordPress as your primary login and have it automatically log you into Google then?
Google won't allow this, because they lose control. So the big name vendors like Google and Microsoft and Amazon IAM that you saw, or AD from Microsoft, they want to remain. Other people, and that is also natural for businesses that are running their business on Microsoft platform or Google platform or Amazon platform, will want to retain their primary services of authentication and Active Directory with one of these services, as opposed to a WordPress setup, which is a piece of software you run on your private little machine, or maybe the service. But these companies, these three, are known for their identity solutions. So it is likely that you would keep them as the primary and then have other services hook up to them, which makes sense also, because all your email, calendar, contacts, and your user authentication and everything operates through that service, for example.
So you couldn't really do the same thing between, say, Google Apps and Amazon IAM?
can. I need to search, and if there is an exact solution between Google Apps and IAM, there should be a possibility, but I need to search for a solution.
AD and IAM, for example, since both of them want to be the master in that situation.
So in principle, if you use the protocol OAuth 2, which is, as you can read about it here, this protocol is fairly extensible in terms of exchanging authentication between one service provider with another. And so you can implement Facebook login, Twitter login, Google login, IAM login, Amazon login. There is also this Amazon login available now. Basically allows you to use login with Amazon. There's a different product. Login with Amazon is here. So this is the application that's called Login with Amazon that will help you in connecting to your multiple applications outside of Amazon with a one-to-one mapping between user accounts and your Amazon account. So that's just another example that Amazon has recently launched this thing. And it basically, seamlessly connects multiple services into one common portal. So the benefits essentially are something that if you have an employee who leaves, just disable that account in one location and it disables everywhere else. And that addresses the stale Active Directory problem that we just discussed briefly, right? You have 10,000 users and you haven't even made sure that your Active Directory is clean, in a clean state, in a well-contained managed state. And this is common where, if you are not doing this, employee leaves and he still has access to your secure set of services in other locations that are not directly managed through the same login method that you have. You can force two-factor authentication or other methods of ensuring authentication that you have in your primary location, like say Active Directory or Google Apps or Amazon login or anything else, with every other service also. So by definition, other services will make use of the same login token. And in case of OAuth2, the actual password is not transmitted over to, say, the other service. Only tokens are exchanged, enabling the other party to recognize that you are indeed who you claim to be and letting you have access to the other location. So that's about Facebook account is also often used to log in new services. That's accurate. Facebook login is an example. I see Shahul joining up. Hi, Shahul. Michael Z says account security is an area for business strategy to retain customers to existing platforms. Vendor block login tokens handled via API. Yes, the logins or login tokens are exchanged over OAuth2 API between services. That is correct, Michael. Yeah. So on the Heroku exercise, I think Shahul succeeded, Mel succeeded. How are you guys doing? Murugan and Michael and Daniel? I guess Daniel is stuck somewhere. So do you want to go over that if that's an interest? Otherwise, we talk about other things like the other platforms now coming up in the cloud. Yesterday, I got invited to participate in this, which still doesn't work, Bluemix. I don't know why. So I got this email from IBM, and it talks about Bluemix. Let's see if I can pull it up. Bluemix. And here, introducing my Bluemix, there's an email. It is a platform as a service available on IBM's cloud, and that's an introduction. And I click on the mybluemix.net, and guess what happens? You see that?
It's a good thing that they rolled that out without the.
Yeah.
So if you get a dig on mybluemix.net, what do you got?
Let's see.
It's a security feature.
So let's do a dig. So here is dig. It is going to some IP address, but nothing much. And so that was this IBM introducing Bluemix to me. Let's see other emails coming from that basically are inviting me to join their Bluemix system, but doesn't seem to actually run yet. Maybe it is by June 17th, all existing application will get an additional route. Okay, that may be it. So maybe this old one will work. ng bluemix.net. Okay, pre-beta. So this application, so it finally is opened up through another link. So what IBM is doing here is branding it as Bluemix, and if you look carefully, it kind of sort of resembles what Heroku has done already. You can load Java apps, Node.js apps, Ruby apps and on their platform and scale. Very, very similar to what Heroku does. And so what exactly Heroku is, if you ask that question, the actual underlying open source product is this. And it is available on this location. It is called Cloud Foundry. And you can go and access the source code probably here. And the source code for Cloud Foundry is available here.
Heroku is Cloud Foundry?
No.
Okay, what was the comment about, what's the relationship between Cloud Foundry and Heroku?
Similar.
Okay,
So,
similar.
Heroku is is the leader, and Cloud Foundry and HP Cloud is also.
So, but Bluemix and HP Cloud charge us money, right?
Yeah. But they give some free.
So are you saying that Bluemix and HP Cloud are both based on the open source Cloud Foundry?
Yes.
Okay.
And these are platforms, PaaS. And there are many more. In fact, you can run your own Cloud Foundry, private little Cloud Foundry on your AC2 or wherever you want. Any other infrastructure, you can create what IBM did, what HP did, what EMC did using this open source project. You can create your own Heroku clone.
So what do you think is the future of Heroku if IBM and HP and open source is behind Cloud Foundry?
It is not as bright, but still succeed. They'll succeed. Once you get copied by open source, it is hard. It is hard to survive long term. You have to innovate differently in other areas, which Heroku is doing. So I don't know what the future will look like, but once you have a competitive element in the open source space, it is really, really hard to compete.
So it appears to me that Heroku and the other platform as a service vendors they're a lot more than just a software service. They are a full data center service.
Yes.
So from our class the other night on Wednesday night, I take it that they want to be your data center operations for you,
Yes.
and you pay a pretty penny for that service.
Yes, they will want to be your IT and run your apps and scale it and up and down for you without your developers having to worry about infrastructure. Because if you want to do the step number 9 here, this point number 9, line 9, this one, if you want to do that, then that is your responsibility to manage and maintain on top of EC2 or other infrastructure
Right.
that you want to run. That becomes your problem. If you are asking somebody else to take the burden, then that is their problem. So you have to pay them.
Mm-hmm. So is that similar to Azure's offering? Will they take care of all of the underlying infrastructure services for you?
Yes, they do. In fact, and there are more examples that I am trying to remember. And
So is Azure comparable in service to one of these PaaS services? Could we think of them as Azure equals Heroku, but in the Microsoft world?
yes, it's conceptual copy, not exactly a copy.
Right.
It's the concept is the same. It's the PaaS. It's the platform as a service available. It's not a copy. It's different.
Right.
And there are other companies that have also implemented like Dot. Then you have App Harbor. And the list is pretty decent in terms of lots of companies that are available that are providing Cloud Foundry based solutions that essentially provide you with something that you need to run your apps on some platform somewhere, which is essentially providing you a complete thing that is needed. And in the context of, say, a Rails application, what you need is the Rails implemented database, a scalable database implemented. You need underlying infrastructure scalable. If you want to do your own, you will have to do the Rails machine, and then and being able to scale machines. An item of work. There's nothing wrong with that item of work. It's a work item. It's a responsibility. Somebody has to do it. Now, if you choose, you can have these guys do it for you, or you can do it on your own. So it's really up to us as to what burden you want to take and what burden you want to outsource. It's a hassle. Either you pay for it or you do it yourself. It's a work item. And so the choice essentially boils down to platform as a service versus managing your own infrastructure. If you're really becoming big, it might make sense to hire somebody to manage your infrastructure as opposed to having a service like these guys. Right?
Right.
So do you want to go over the steps where we got stuck on in the class as you were trying to run the Heroku exercises? Can you restate what is hard once a company is using open source? So Michael has a question. Can you restate what is hard once a company using open source? So I think I want to paraphrase that question and explain the difficulty in actually using open source. Is that what you mean to say? Is that what you mean to ask, Michael?
Yeah, and just real quick, I don't want you to have to spend a lot of time on it, but you made a comment that, like, I think it was with IBM and the Blue Mix. You talked about it's difficult once something occurs in open space. I didn't understand that.
Ah, I see, I see. So I think the question that Daniel had is with Cloud Foundry open source coming along, which is kind of sort of a copy of what Heroku does, how difficult it is for Heroku to sustain business in business long term. And my response was, if you have a business that is proprietary and if somebody clones it in the open source, it becomes a formidable competition and it is hard to sustain long term without innovating.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Yep. So a question to Murugan, Michael, and Dan. Do we want to go over the Rails exercise that we did in last time, or you want to discuss something else? That's the real question.
So this is Dan. I don't want to go over it if it's just me having problems.
Okay. So maybe I'll then, if you have some problem, I think the problem root comes from the fact that you might have missed a step somewhere along the way. And by the way, in the chat window, what I'm going to do is make sure that you have first of all created an account with this new login that I provided to Cloud Genius. And then once you do, you will be able to see this screen. And if you go to the Cloud Technologies button on the top and go to the very last item, that shows this last item number 13, which talks about creating a Rails application and deploy it on Heroku Platform as a Service in production mode. And if you click on follow these steps diligently button here, it'll take you to this link. And that link essentially walks you through on steps by step. Everything you need to do begin from scratch on your VM and make it happen. At the end of your run, you will have Heroku running your production application using production server, and that's the outcome we would like everybody to succeed with. And that write-up is available here, and you would need a Cloud Genius login to access this location. You have an email coming from me that says welcome to Cloud Genius, which gives you a password to access Cloud Genius account. By the way,
so I already have that set up.
Yep. So just Murugan knows and Shahul knows, we have now changing over to using Cloud Genius email. Think of it as a school email system where you get access to school email, calendar contacts, and access to internal sites. There is new site with new content coming up for the next segment of the class starting the 18th, I think, when we start. On not 18th, but on 18th of June, we start our DevOps segment. So from that date onward, you will have new content showing up on the link I gave you, which is also very easily accessible through a simple name called http://library.cloudgenius. That will be a simple link, library.cloudgenius. No .com, only .us, like we have. library.cloudgenie.us. So if you go that location, it'll ask you to log in through Google on Cloud Genius, for which you have a password. Use that and get in. And when you get in, you will see course material there, as opposed to the old location, which we still have. The old location still works with your existing login and password that you have. But at some point, once I have everybody know about this, and we'll change over the login system to the Google Apps for that you have set up in Classroom. All of you have set up Google Apps. So we have formally adopted Google Apps in Cloud Genius and are able to provide an account to everybody in the class and also the alumni. So everybody will get access to Cloud Genius, log in, and create your own websites here. And in fact, a comment to Shahul. Shahul, it'll be awesome if you can start writing your Vagrant thing onto the site here. Create your own page in your location and have that populated and showcase as to what you did on Vagrant and expand,
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, thank you. We'll do
I
that.
will help you out how to do that. And I told you about this little thing called Markdown, which is very, very trivial, and I will illustrate how I write it. You will also be able to do that using Markdown is a tool set. Markdown, you may have heard of it before me talk about it, but I'll maybe give you everybody a quick rundown as to what this Markdown is. at some point, maybe in the class for a few minutes. It is trivially simple way of writing, but it looks like looks clean, like you saw me showing you here. All this write-up that you see here with beautiful formatting on what is code versus what is English, that segmentation and steps to run in the command line called out here very clearly. That writing style is very, very simple to write, and it is trivially simple. And I'll maybe just quick demo here. This is how I write actually. So I'll go and say open, go back to Markdown, and write it here, and go back to HTML and paste. So it's Markdown and HTML. Markdown, HTML. See that? It's that quick. It's that easy. You will enable this very easily, and you can write in wherever you feel like. Like, for example, if you're writing somebody an email, you can write them a Markdown email. And here's how it goes. So you compose an email. You say somebody, not Marsha Summer, but yeah, so somebody, and say come down here in the window here. Say hello. How to put in a tab and type, or rather, say heading. H2 for 2 hashes, H3 for 3 hashes, and say Markdown. And there it goes. As simple as that. And then go back to editing in plain text.
Where are you saying Markdown? I don't see where you're clicking Markdown.
Yeah, I'll show you in person. You may not be able to see it so easily. It's a very small button, and also on keyboard there is a special combo you have to use to convert between HTML and Markdown very simply. So you can just create like this and say Markdown, and when you do that, it comes back. And so here you can write, say code.
So it's an app that you have in Chrome.
Yeah, it's an app you have in your browser. Any browser works, and you can say ls-l.
Okay.
And then you switch, and that's how it looks. Very clean, very efficiently done. So you can make these changes and start writing like this. It is the geeky way of writing stuff is Markdown, and that's what we'll get to once we all of us have access to this site.
So, Nilesh, a quick question about that. Well, just a comment. It seems like if you're somebody that wants to promote yourself, like your programming skills or whatever, you could essentially write in that format and then possibly even publish it on GitHub too.
Yes, indeed. GitHub accepts Markdown. Cloud Genius also now does, starting yesterday. On the site, you have access to it. You can create your own page by going to http:// member.cloud, and in that site you can just create your own site with a /Shahul or /Michael, for example. Once you log in, of course you need to log in, but here you can say /Nilesh and create your site here, all with Markdown, simple text. Here you can say create Michael for me, and it will create Michael page for you, and you can describe what you did, create project ideas, write them up nicely, share it with everybody, so people will know you know what you know. And this becomes a portal for you to showcase what you know. And it is trivially dead simple. It is hosted by Google under Cloud Genius, and you get a dedicated page for it. And right now the page doesn't exist because you can create it, Michael. So it's a page for you. And as soon as you log in, you should be able to succeed in that. And just use Markdown. And the tool that we use for Markdown, that I use for Markdown, is called Markdown here. And it runs everywhere. Markdown here. And it runs everywhere, like any browser.
Nice. So again, extending the example, Shahul could essentially promote himself because let's say he put the Vagrant, how to do something on Vagrant, set it up or what have you in the cloud. Yes. And then like if he had another use case or something like that, he could promote himself, and then maybe he could even link that to his resume in some way if he wanted to.
In fact, I have already did that part for Shahul here. So introduction to Vagrant. Thank you, Shahul. And I described what Shahul wrote to me in email, except that I formatted it in Markdown before I emailed it out to the class. And so I have it already for Shahul done because he already did the work. So I wanted him to get credit. So I have a placeholder for him. I would like him to take it public whenever he feels comfortable with. This part is only limited to the classroom. I'm not posting it outside, but I would want Shahul to expose it everywhere on something like member.cloudgenius/Shahul. And here you can write in Markdown and write whatever you want, and any work you're doing, experimentation, trying out, or learning, or sharing, or creating new products and services. You write about them. That becomes your portfolio, and that becomes a channel for us to use. So make sure you use that, and I will walk you through how to use that, no problem, in the class. That becomes so everybody can see what's going on. Make sense? Money. Wow, Michael. Yes, you're right. It basically translates to money, and why not make use of? Absolutely. So make use of opportunity, exposure, and awareness. And all it really boils down to is building your personal credibility and personal branding for you. If you have something that you are able to do, and Shahul, the way he wrote the steps, I followed those steps blindly, and all these steps just worked for me in Vagrant. And that was delicious, by the way. Thank you, Shahul. So he wrote it very step by step. What does it mean? What do I do? And I followed them all the way through the end, and I had the outcome ready in a virtual machine inside Vagrant, up and running. And so that's exactly how you do it. And to make it readable, you can introduce this element of Markdown and publish it, and make serious credibility comes along. And with credibility comes along brand recognition for you as an individual. And that's exactly what we want, all of us. We want to build, because it is hard in the ocean of things happening all around us. It is hard to get distinguished and differentiate yourself from everybody else as to what do I do, what can I do, and how do I do it. And here is my evidence, here is my collateral. And that's the kind of element I want to be able to enable for all of us. And with that in mind is what I am building out, these tool sets that I'm making available to you. You can absolutely use them. Please do. It will help you indeed. The dollar, how many, I don't know how many dollars you put, that equals Shahul. That is accurate. But to generate a dollar from writing takes time, takes effort, takes a long time. It is important to do it right away and start building it over time. Then you can actually reach these dollar numbers that you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or something like that. I don't know how many.
That's in pesos.
Oh my God. So what else you want to discuss today? Oh, now everybody's running their own currency. Don't make it Indian rupee. Then it'll be okay.
Make it Bitcoin.
Yeah, why not? Except that buy a Bitcoin, you need to protect it. It is hard, and you also need to have financial protection to it, what is known as derivatives or put options. Now I'm digressing from cloud computing to financial accounting and trading, but there are derivatives now becoming available on Bitcoin pretty soon. They're coming up. Meaning you can buy a put on Bitcoin.
So I have a question that's not related to currency.
Mhm.
Hey, Shahul, how was your meetup on Thursday night?
Hey, I think it's scheduled for next month.
Oh, I
The
thought
as
there
in
was a
as in
meetup on Thursday.
DevOps Dev, are you talking about?
Yeah, wasn't there a Eastside Cloud DevOps at Expedia on Thursday?
No, I think Shahul is referring to a different meetup, and Daniel is referring to a different one. Both are meetups. One is Expedia meetup, and one is Shahul's meetup.
Yeah,
Shahul's
I didn't
meetup,
attend Expedia one.
right? So Shahul is doing a meetup with DevOps versus Ops Dev, and he's going to speak there, and it is being organized by Jason,
Right?
and that's what he's doing next month.
He's doing it on a Monday, isn't he?
Yeah, and Nilesh is going to be there as well. I guess I saw his name.
Yeah,
On Monday? So we're going to have class there at the meetup?
I know. So I'm not, that Monday is a conflict, so I haven't actually formally committed. Monday is a class conflict.
I wanted to go, but it said it was on 5 o'clock on Monday's
I
night.
know. That becomes hard. I cannot skip class, no. They want me there. They want me to moderate or something. But I have said informally said yes to it, but I did not know that it's going to conflict with the class. And if it does, I'm not going. I'm in the class. I'd love to see an agenda and help promote it. I think we'll get to that point, but I don't know if I can go because not on Monday exactly. So I'm not going, and Shahul is of course decided to go, which is totally cool. You will miss that class that day, which is okay. We can cover that.
Thank you.
So by the way, Shahul, in Expedia there is also a DevOps meetup that happens, and it will be nice if you join that one, and it will be nice if we can also join there, and we will join one day if it is not a conflict.
Sure, I didn't realize that there is one at Expedia.
Yeah, they're doing it. We would love to participate there and be there, so we'll like to join you. So
Sure.
next time when it happens, just find out when it is, and we'll all go there.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, hey, this is Dan. I'm gonna sign off. I'll work on the homework, and then Nilesh, maybe I'll bug you offline.
Yep. And please feel free to bug, those who have not yet completed on the Heroku thing. Please feel free to bug. And in the class Monday, I would like, what was the homework? To complete the Heroku part. We would like you to complete the Heroku exercise, the write-up that you have here, the Rails write-up, Rails on Heroku write-up. If you have completed already, that's awesome. But if not, make sure you do that. If you get stuck, email me, call me.
Is there a new? So I restored my snapshot, and but it was the original snapshot from the original part of the class. Do I need to get a new a new trusty VM?
No, you don't. You don't need. New trustee is not needed.
Okay.
New trustees are essentially helping you cut down on the updates needed. Sure, thanks, but I cannot access it through Gmail account. No, you need to access it through a Cloud Genius email account here. This school accounts for everybody, and the school account can be accessed at this site called email.cloudgenius. And you need a login name and password. I'm going to show you where to find it, and that's where I'm going. So I will go to email.cloudgenius, and in that site I will go and make sure you have manage this domain, and then find out the users, and the users are here. Many of you haven't even signed in, so I'll go to Murugan and give him his login credentials like this. So I'm saying, what's your email, Murugan? muruganji@gmail.com. That's his email. So here is your password and email coming to you. There you go. So you have an email with your password on this site. The site is called email.cloudgenius. And once you log in, then you can visit library.cloudgenius for learning material and for member.cloudgenius to showcase using Markdown and use the Markdown here to edit Markdown. Markdown is the name of the plugin.
And so now we should not use our Gmail account for accessing Cloud Genius.
That change, I will force you to switch over to the Cloud Genius login. So like Muru at Cloud Genius login will start working. In the class, I will make these changes so that you don't get a stick. So that new login will start active. Until that time, old login will work.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to cut you off. So do the transition when everybody's there. Right? Yeah. Or if you want to keep using the old account, go ahead. I'm not forcing you to switch over, but the new content will be available in the new site, which requires a new login.
No problem. We'll shift to the new one.
Cool.
That would be
awesome. I think Daniel just left. But if you have any other topic you want to cover, or we discuss something new like OpenShift, that was an interest in that Shahul wanted to understand, run Jenkins in the cloud. Is that the idea, Shahul?
Yes, Nilesh, I'm here.
Yeah. So let's do that then. If that's something you want to try, so we'll go to OpenShift. No, not OpenShift. What's the name? Red Hat OpenShift. Yes, OpenShift.com. That will let us create it. Sign up for free. So you go log in. I have a login already. So I will probably use the Red Hat account I had to log in. And it lets me log in. I have new terms to agree and accept. And so I'm using an old account I have from years. And see, I'm running a Jenkins here. And what I want to actually do is, start over. So I'm going to just erase the whole thing, delete this application, delete. And it will be dead in just a second. And I'll clean up the slate. And
hey, Nilesh, before we go there, can you just cover some use cases for Jenkins and how practically we can use it and where it will be more beneficial?
Yeah, I will do that. So this is not just about Jenkins right now. We'll get to the Jenkins point once we successfully do this application.
Okay.
The use case of Jenkins essentially is, let me get the notepad. So you saw us doing this git init, and then we did git add, and then we did git commit, and then you do more changes. More, and then repeat steps number 9 and 10. And that's how development works, right? You keep more changes, and then you repeat steps number 8 and 9 and 13 and 14 and keep going changes. So when you're doing this kind of a flow of work, you make some change in step number 6 and you make some more change in step number 11 and go on and on. What you really want to do from a developer's perspective is to keep doing changes and keep improving your code and keep improving your application to make it useful. And you're running it locally, like here, right, in your Rails environment inside your development box. You see how it works, you test it out and open it in localhost :3000, and everything is fine and dandy. Now you want to immediately push this to Heroku, push, no, not Heroku, git push this to Heroku. So then you can open up funky dash dude 1013.heroku.com, something like that. Some website will open up and that will show your code. So that's the workflow for a developer. Now what Jenkins does is incorporates automated testing for your application and take care of these steps like git push Heroku master and deployment on real world platform. The steps number 18 and 19 and 20, these last two steps, and integration testing of all the other things that are needed to make it happen, not just you as an individual developer, but if there are multiple people developing and changing and merging code, each one of these branches that are being built on inside the bigger Git repository, they will do an integration testing automatically in Jenkins. So all you need to do is step number 4. And push it to your origin. So the scenario would be git push. That will take you to your origin, which is your common central location, not Heroku. It's like we do a git push Heroku in Heroku master. Your master branch is being pushed to Heroku in step number 7. In case of a collaborative work that you're doing in your company with a bunch of different developers all pushing to a common branch and aggregating those changes in a Git repository, you want to do something like step number 6, where you're integrating your Git components all together in one big application and then running some integration testing on it. So applications like Jenkins and Travis, and there are some other continuous integration applications. What they do is to help you integrate these elements of code that many people within a company are developing, put them all together, test them out thoroughly, and when the test passes, we'll do a step number 7, git push Heroku master, to make it go live in production. If there is something wrong, it will not do the step number 7. Instead, alert you, something went wrong, fix your code. Here are the errors in testing. So that automation of continuous integration is what Jenkins does. Got it?
So it has got a test automation piece as well as the integration piece.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The automation piece for every single thing, and not just that, it will also do deployments. It's an end-to-end continuous integration cycle. So, for example, the other day we were running into this case of. Hold on, I'll show you that. We had this case where we were all running into this problem, and I'm sure you know that. Let me just show you that so you'll remember. So we'll go Google Apps and go to Gmail, and in here we're doing authenticate email, and then you're trying to generate a new record, and most of you are failing. The failure was happening because of a bug in Google system somewhere. And all of us were failing, and I did a migration to another Google Apps fairly recently, and guess what? I failed also, and so my DKIM was not working properly. So I opened up a ticket with Google, and what Google must have done in the background is assigned a ticket to the developer that, hey, your DKIM generation tool code is not working. So they must have fixed it inside their local Git repository, and then ran local testing, and when they found it's okay, they move on to the next thing they're doing. They're not going all the way to pushing it in production so that Nilesh can use it or that Shahul can use it. But what the developers are doing is move on to the next ticket and address the next problem. somebody who's using and responsible for integration of these changes will put them together, and that somebody is this automation tool that will essentially grab changes from various developers and run a integration testing on top of it. And if the test passes, that's awesome. They'll take the next logical step. If the test fails, it'll go back to the developer and open the ticket again that, you know what, you think you fixed, but it actually doesn't seem to have fixed. So please take a look at it again, and the ticket opens up again in their inbox, in their tool system or trouble ticket system or whatever system they have working on their code. So that's the flow for work items coming back to the original Google developer. They're working on this particular issue of DKIM signature generation. If the test passes, the next logical step is to see other elements that depend on it and bring them also together and do an integration testing for that particular combination piece. And if that test also passes, it'll take that to the next stage of staging server and run another staging set of tests with entire set of Google services running in a staging cloud. And if that also passes, then it pushes to the production mode and then notifies the customer support team that, you know, the thing that you were expecting to resolve has been resolved by Google. Please notify the customer that the issue of DKIM signature generation like this is now taken care of. And it did. And by the way, I just generated a DKIM record for this domain. It seems to be working now in production, which is awesome because now I can take the TXT value and put it in DNS and it'll work. Right. But until that time, the customer support does not know that it has been fixed until the thing goes live in production. So the tool like Jenkins or tools like Travis or tools, there are other tools that are responsible for continuous integration of code changes will deploy these code in production for you without bothering developers. The developers don't have to worry about it. All they will need to focus on is that they get a trouble ticket, they look at the ticket, understand what needs to be changed in their code, in their local host, in their workstations, make those changes in your DKIM generation tool and push it. And that's it. You don't have to worry about all the way looking at what entire google.com solution sets. It's a humongous application that Google maintains with a variety of services. What you focus on is the ticket you get, and you create your changes and you publish them through Git, and everything else is automated. That's the element of continuous integration. That's why you can see that you see so many changes happening as you look at Google interface of variety of applications, Google Calendar, Gmail, Maps, and everywhere you see variety of things constantly keep changing a little bit to make it improve it over time. And that's the continuous improvement, continuous integration aspects of tools like Travis, tools like Jenkins help you and help developers enable that. So that's the purpose behind these tool sets.
So Nilesh, I have a question. It's still not clear to me how those tests that Jenkins runs are created. Do you have to set up a set of regression tests for each application, or is it just testing that your code runs error-free? What level of test is it performing?
So the onus of writing tests, it basically lies on the developer himself.
Okay.
If you are the developer, the first thing you probably do is to write test before you write the code. So here is a classic new way of, it's called test-driven development. There are these two types of people, right? The test developer versus software developer. In the old style lingo, old style language, there used to be an SDET and then SDE. That model is changed. There are no SDETs either these days. They have disappeared. All you have is developers. And what they do is collect requirement or marketing. And the next thing they do is write test. And what happens is when you do this way, that you run the test and the result is all things fail because you don't have any code. So the next logical thing is to write code. some test pass. Other tests fail. Some code. And then you write more code. And then you run tests. Or that's how it works. You get the picture now?
Yes, yeah, that answers my question.
So this concept is called test-driven development. There used to be these people called software development engineers in test.
Right.
That breed is gone. They don't exist anymore. Many companies still have them, by the way, but the concept is that they will go away because the developers are writing tests to begin with. The first thing, you write the test so you know exactly what will fail if you don't write the code properly. Then you write code, and then some tests will start passing. And so when it fails, like in step number 6 here, all things fail, that means you will see lots of red items in Jenkins or Travis, lots of red everywhere because everything fails. And now you start writing code, and you write code with a focused purpose of making the test pass. And if you have the test passing, then Jenkins will say it's all green, or some green, some red. Then you focus on the red items, and you make them pass. And as soon as you have all the tests passing, then you're done writing code, and so you can move on to the next thing. And so testing is completely automated because you write the test to begin with. And you give it to Jenkins or Travis or things like that, tools like that.
Is there a name for that type of testing? Like, if you're a dev person, do you say, "Hey, are there essentially kind of generic terms or standards for those initial tests?"
Yep, and here it is.
Perfect.
It's called TDD, or test-driven development. The guy who created it is this guy.
Oh, okay. Do you is this model essentially like used primarily in open source, or is the philosophy also across the board, whether it's in larger companies that are not necessarily in open space?
So I think I heard you say two things. The two things were is it open source only or larger companies also? So let me begin by saying that open source is used by the largest companies in the industry today. Open source does not mean small. Open source means big also. It can be small also. Now, having said that, let's see what Apple open source does. And here is Apple's open source. Guess what is open source? 10.9.2, 10.9.1, all the elements of OS X were open source. Major parts of it was open source, and these are the parts. You can see them. And you can actually see the source code itself. And that we are talking about is the operating system called Mac. Let's look at other tools. The compiler tool that is called Xcode. It has a ton of open source elements. Look at iOS, your iPhone. It has a ton of open source elements. Look at OS X Server, again open source. The foundation of open source is right in your Macintosh OS. This is one of the biggest technology companies today. Let's look at Google and their open source. They have an entire office dedicated to open source. Most of their code is open source in the public domain. From there are some parts that they keep it private, but a large majority of Google's projects are actually open source. Let's look at Microsoft open and see what Microsoft is doing in the open source space. Open source in the cloud. Microsoft has implemented a ton of projects, again in the open source, in the cloud. You can say open source in the cloud for Microsoft and see what Microsoft is doing in the open source space. And Amazon is, similar, no different here. Amazon. Yeah, some other wrong link. But the key idea is all large companies are actively using open source tools and techniques. And this technique is not an open source technique, but a technique useful in modern development. It's called TDD. Got it?
Thanks, Nilesh. This is a new concept for me.
You're welcome, sir.
Not being a developer, I just assumed it was the old SDE, SDET model, because I still see a lot of job requests for those titles.
Okay, unfortunately, that is true. But by the way, on this page, you can see the flowchart describes, write a test. The first thing, write a test, and then check if the test fails. If the test fails, you write code. If the test passes, then you write more tests for other things. If the test fails, then you write code and then run all the tests. If the test fails, you write more code. And if everything passes, then you clean up code and you repeat. It's a cyclical diagram. Essentially talks about getting the requirements in line with test first and then getting to writing code. Because if you write code without testing first, you don't know what you're writing. That becomes a problem. So you want to actively write code for solving a test failure. And you want to write test to address whether a customer requirement is actually implemented correctly or not. If customer says, get me a DKIM signature for my domain so that my email shows signed by my domain, that's the customer requirement. So what I will do is not start writing the code to generate DKIM keys, but instead write a test that ensures that the customer is able to generate a DKIM key for their domain in such and such method. And then run that test. And guess what? The test will fail. And that is totally expected because you don't even have code to actually generate the key. All you have is a requirement from the customer that says, please generate a DKIM key for my domain and a test that shows whether or not your code generates a DKIM key or not. But you still don't have the code to generate the key. Then you come down to step number 8, where you write the code to implement the requirement, and then you run the test again. And when you do, and you succeed, your test will pass like in line number 14, and then you move on. If you don't pass, then you go back to write step number 8 and fix it, and run more tests in step number 9. And if you pass, then you move on. But otherwise, you write more code, step number 8. And by doing this way, you are focused exactly on solving the customer problem and not doing some random code that nobody wants. It is cheaper to write code this way than any other way. Cheaper as in time, cheaper as in people resource, cheaper as in less wasteful. Cheaper actually means less money also. And yes, it is less money because you save time. And the cost of development, the primary cost driver of development work in software industry is developers' time. Huge amount of portion that Microsoft and Google and Amazon and Facebook and everybody spends on the cost of goods sold. Like talk about this element. This is the cost of goods sold. They sell software and services. Portion of their cost of goods sold is salary. And you want to make sure that you're using your developers the most efficient way possible. You don't want to waste money. You don't want to waste time. So you want to focus them on solving the customer requirement precisely and not do random stuff. If you don't guide the developer exactly what they want, what you want them to do, they will do whatever they want and might waste time, might implement something that the customer did not want to begin with. And you don't want that.
It
What you
seems
want to
like,
do is do exactly what the customer told you to do and move on.
it seems like that's a part of the agile model.
Yes.
If you took that development cycle that you had up earlier for test-driven development and just add a phase in there to run it by the customer after you've got your code test free, then run it by the customer, and then if they have problems, then you run back through the whole cycle again, and it's that would pretty much describe the whole agile life cycle.
Yeah, and you do that run by the customer at step number 5. Is this what you want, dear customer? That's the question to ask. Right there in step number 5, even before going forward to any other step. You write the test and show it to the customer. Hey, is this what you want?
Hey Nilesh, this is Shahul.
Yeah.
I think that explains a whole lot in terms of what we're talking about. But one comment to add is the recent challenges. The challenges are the people, the developers who write those test cases. They're focused on just purely solving what the customer is asking for, what business is asking for, but they fail to understand that the code needs to be robust, resilient, scalable, etc. And then they just solve the business problem. And so code goes into production, you hit into the scalability issues, resiliency issues, those kind of operational problems you see in production, which is not an important thing at all for developers. And that's a hard thing these days to tell customers and convince the developers, hey, your job is not just solving the business problem only. The business problem it does not end with just what customer asks for. Also, for your skill to scale, your code, your code to scale, your code to resilient to some kind of hiccups in the network or infrastructure issues. That's the pain problems I've been dealing with.
I know. And you can probably address those issues in step number 6, 7, and 8 by incorporating more tests, testing more robustly right up front.
Yeah.
It's hard to envision those at the very beginning, but slowly over time, as you will see, you need to add those scalability testing as a part of the overall test suite. And do it through automation testing is probably the right way to go.
Yep. The other idea we found is if the developers are not interested in doing this, even after so many reminders, hey, you develop the code, you manage your code, you support your code as well. So when they get the call in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., weekends, Saturdays, New Year, Christmas, then they feel the pain and they write the better code with the robustness in the first place.
That's correct. So that comes down to responsibility.
How about, not to go on a tangent, but how about good project management, good project ownership, basically a well-coordinated team effort?
Yes. That comes absolutely at the bottom line. That is the bottom line is have everybody really understand what we are doing. The overall development cycle. It's not just about my piece of little DKIM code that I'm writing to generate signatures for DKIM for a domain. That's not the whole issue. The whole issue from a user's perspective is to have all the services that I need from Google for my domain running correctly, including the DKIM signature part, which doesn't seem to work for me. Not just your isolated piece of development, but the big picture. Right?
Yep.
Cool.
Another thought I have is that this whole concept plays well into the DevOps model, where
Absolutely.
instead of having a developer develop his code, throwing it over the wall to the test, to the QA, and then to the operations, the developers involved in it from start to finish.
Yeah, I was talking to an Amazon person yesterday, and they were saying that the whole reason they are not running into this problem is every developer in the company has to carry the pager. For any incidents, they had to get in front of the VP and why they ran into the problem, what they've learned, and what they're going to fix the problem going forward to avoid the problem. So the developer will not want to go in front of the VP again to tell, hey, I screwed up, I didn't think about this scenario, or I didn't think about that scenario. So they are forcing the developers to think the bigger picture and write the quality code.
So all the developers carry pagers, huh?
Yep, it's mandatory.
You write a piece of code that becomes deployed in production environment. You carry your responsibility with you, and you take it to bed in the night. You get paged. This is how customers, at least in companies that are focused on, companies that are focused on customers think, is to be able to address customer needs at the shortest possible duration, fastest. How quickly can you actually address a customer need? And occasionally I have seen, even in the example that Shahul is giving about Amazon, Amazon.com, the customer retail site, yesterday was not showing me my orders. So I'm ordering something and I'm not able to see my orders. That's a bug. But Amazon has been in place, and that order screen has been in place for years and years. Why is there a bug now? Why can't Amazon be the most highly available service for me? And that's a challenge. It's still, there is some occasional downtime or unavailability of elements inside the service that occasionally shows up. Things like DKIM not working, or some things like orders not showing up. Little parts of your code, overall big picture may be working, but little parts may not be working, and that's a thing that people are trying to address. Large companies and small companies are trying to make sure that your services are available to your users all the time. So by putting burden of responsibility back to the creator, improves the overall quality, is the idea what Shahul discussed with Amazon, like he mentions, which is totally happening right now. People expect you to do work and expect you to take responsibility for your work, and that is reasonable.
Yeah, what happens is in some companies, what their primary focus is, hey, I want to get things fast. I want to just solve the business problem.
Mm-hmm.
We can cut corners, get these things fast, and get more business. Don't think about these other stuff now. We'll think about later. They are running into the problems of going too far into that mode for 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then they look back and say, oh my God, why am I having this 25 people in operations? And then they realize that, oh my God, this is because of all the technical debts I gathered in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Now they wanted to clean up. It takes another year or two. So
Yeah.
they need to find the right balance as they move along. They need to be really cautious on, are we in the right mode? Should I mix and match, or should I increase here or increase there? They need to be cautious about it rather than just blindly go with the model. They have been doing that for 2-3 years.
Yep. Makes sense. So do you want to talk about the Vagrant thing Monday or something?
Yeah, I can do that on Monday, Nilesh.
Yeah, that will be awesome.
Cool.
And give me a call if you want to talk about this markdown thing, or writing, or in terms of describing it on a public site.
Sure.
Yeah, give me a call after this hangout. And talk more
Sure.
about it.
We'll do that.
I see Murugan's smiling face, but he's quiet.
That is his photo, I guess.
I know. His picture is not showing his face.
Yeah, I don't have a video. Okay. I'm using another laptop and in the library.
Yeah, the library. Okay, you don't want to show your video in the library.
Last time I was in the library with my iPad and no laptop. Today I got my work laptop as a backup, so I'm using that.
Oh,
And Google didn't work from the
nice.
library.
Are you using Windows?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Ish.
Sure.
Oh, it's so hard. So hard. So you can transfer all the blame to Murugan now, right? All the blame now goes to
He's
Murugan.
a Microsoft employee now.
I know.
Okay. It happens.
Hey, Nilesh, I got to run. Thank you so much for your help today.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
So is this Markdown language you've been talking about? If that's the same language that you use for your Octopress blogs?
Yes, 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 indeed. It is the same language, and it is it's very elegant. It's really, really short syntax, not too much complications. Simple hashtag, simple use of hash symbol to indicate header 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Square brackets, small brackets, and you can read about Markdown. This small little cheat sheet of just one pager, and you can go right diligently, beautifully, and create HTML in like a button combination. Like Control Alt M will generate HTML out of Markdown and post it. As simple as that.
I'm going to try it.
Yeah. If you want, give it a shot. Go ahead and create a login on that. Create a page on Cloud Genius, member.cloudgenius. Go start sharing your screen. Hit the upper left green button, and start sharing your screen so we can see what you're doing, and I can walk you through if you like.
Okay.
Upper right corner, green button, and keep going.
And Nilesh, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
This is regarding the login, the new login.
Yes.
I can't get into the site. It's somehow going back to Google.
You need to go log out of your Gmail and then log in here. Use a different browser. If you are logged into this, you log into a different browser with a new Gmail account, that will work.
No. I'm in Muru at cloudgenius.us. So when I come to the website and try to log in, it takes me back to Gmail once I log in. And then when I try to come here, it shows me a WordPress account. Hey, one second, it's showing me library. Let me see if I can see stuff.
Try switch user. That'll do.
Okay.
So here, Mel, we are seeing your Notepad++, which is a good application, no doubt. Very useful application.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use this to write Markdown, indeed.
Yes, I just started using this.
This one is the Microsoft one, Notepad++.
Yeah, Notepad++ is a open source project.
Oh, okay.
It is a tool to write whatever you want in text, plain text.
So how do you write the little block code?
You want to do a triple backtick. I mean, the one below, one to the left of number 1.
One to backtick. I see.
3 times. 1, 2, 3. Enter. And then you enter as a new line. 3 backticks, and then you write your code segment, and then 3 backticks.
and then 3. So you just
Yep, that's it. That's it.
mark that.
Then you're done. That's essentially the code that you write in Markdown.
Wow.
Say Control A and copy it over, and then we go to the website and paste it there and see what happens. So copy the whole thing. And then open a browser and log into CloudGenius and go to member.cloudgenius.
Hey, this is Michael. Real quick, I have to sign off, but thank you for everything, and I'll see you on Monday.
Sure, and thank you.
Have a great week. Have a great weekend, everybody.
See you, Michael.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Michael.
So here there's a button at the bottom called Sign In. Very first one.
I see.
And here you can potentially create a site. How do you create a site? So say sites.cloudgenius to see if you can create a site. Since you don't have an existing site, so sites.cloudgenius. That should take you there. Excuse me. Yeah. Sites.cloudgenius should give you a create button. My site's in no create button.
I don't see it.
I know. I will fix it.
Okay.
Find out why do you not see it. So the browse sites, click on browse sites and see if you can create a site. Button. All sites.
Member sites?
Yeah, member site is where you were, but you can, I think something else is broken, which doesn't let you create on your own. Mm-hmm. So I will fix that segment.
Mel, you can log in?
In the interim, yes, Mel can log in. So Mel, if you want to go to email.cloudgenius and try out this markdown thing. And in here, you should be able to create a new mail, send it to Murugan and Nilesh, and paste that markdown content, which requires that you have a compose the compose button and paste in the body of your message. And you also need a markdown tool added, which is called markdown here. You can paste it in the body. Plain text. There we go. And now you need that markdown here plugin into Google Chrome, which you probably don't know. I don't know if you have it yet. You want to go an extension, markdown here. So go to settings extension. extensions, then Markdown here. Get more extensions.
So the resolution of the Markdown is through the browser. So what the mail actually sends will be HTML code.
That's correct.
It's already converted. I see. Makes sense. Okay, let's see. I don't find that Markdown extension. It's in the Chrome Web Store?
Yes.
Markup extension?
No, markdownhere.com will take you there actually.
Okay.
Markdown dash here. Chrome. Yeah. Get it for Chrome. And install that. That would do. There should be an upper right corner button. You can make it full screen, by the way. We don't need the notepad now.
Right.
The blue plus button on top.
The free?
Yeah, free.
Okay.
This will add a new button on the upper left corner once you add it. And
This button here?
Not this one. This is the last pass button.
Oh, that's right. I still don't recognize it. I just installed it after we talked yesterday.
Ah. So Murugan, by the way, this LastPass is a very good extension for saving your passwords. And you can close this particular tab on the Chrome Store. The tab can go. The extensions tab can also go. And now we are back in this window in the writing of email. Click on the H3, click on H3, and then click on the new button you have in Markdown on the upper left corner after you click on H3.
What you said click on H3.
Yeah. And then you go up on top left, top right. Sorry.
What?
Yeah, no, this is totally normal. You just close out on this. This is one-time thing.
Okay.
One-time setup. Now you click on the new button you have. So click on H3 and then you go to the button.
You're talking about this H3 in my text?
Yes.
You want me to highlight it?
Yeah, just click is okay. Just click, okay. And then you take all the way to the top and click. close the window and open it again.
Well, it's a very slow machine with everything I've got running on it.
Is it the same laptop you had that day, right?
Yes, it's a little notebook.
Sorry to interrupt. I need to log out. My laptop is behaving a bit weird.
No problem. Go ahead.
I'll be back, Nilesh. Yeah, thanks.
Do you want to close out the big Chrome window and restart the browser will help. You want to leave this alone and just close Chrome. And even close your virtual box if it is running. That will save some.
It is. That really slows me down.
And you have running Hangout on top. Wow, you're taxing the big machine you have. Right?
My poor little i3 processor with 4 gigs isn't doing too well.
I know.
Trusty doesn't want to close down without a fight. Okay, Trusty is gone. Now.
Shut the Chrome window on the upper red cross. Close that out completely and close out many other things that you can. And then start your Chrome. It's actually a good machine though, but
it's a good little machine for what it was designed for.
Yeah.
Wasn't designed for running virtual machines.
No. Not this one.
About the only I can't add any more memory to it, so about the only thing I could do is switch to an SSD, which I do not have. That would,
but I would not recommend. Don't leave it alone. Leave it as it is.
Yeah, no, I'm not putting that investment into this machine. I would rather put that investment into another machine. Okay, we were at mail.
Email. Not email.
Email?
Email.cloudgenius.
Email, there it is.
So here you can go draft. There's already 2 drafts there. So you already have existing drafts you want to use. And so you'll be in the body of the mail, like S3, and then you hit the button. That should convert into Markdown. There we go.
Ah, okay.
And you want to edit in plain text mode and then bring it back to HTML when you feel like. So hit the button one more time.
Goes back.
There we go.
Nice.
So now you can remove equal to and dash and clean up. And then this time, instead of going to the upper corner, try a keyboard shortcut that you might have set up already. I think you might have set up Control Alt M for Markdown. Control Alt M may not work, or does it work? So that was this segment. Let's also now try the sites.cloudgenius also. See if that opened up, because I think I made some changes that will show you a create site button. So sites.cloudgenius should open up and show you a create button this time. No.
Not yet.
Amazing. Can you please give me control? If I
Is that on the share screen button?
yeah, somewhere I think I can see if I can help Morrison.
Let's see.
I have requested you to say yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
You closed my session.
I know.
I
I hit the wrong button and it killed your Hangout. This time I will minimize it, not close. I have access settings, and I have enabled access to everybody to create. Users can make site public. Users can share sites. Settings for sites. Where is the creation sites? Templates. Here. Users can create sites. Yes. Users can enable viewer comments. Yes. Now you should be able to create a site. And there we have it. So you want to call it whatever Mel, for example.
Sure.
And then you select a theme and then you go. As simple as that.
Hmm.
You want to hit the green button upper left.
The green button upper left. I don't see a green button.
Upper left green arrow. Screen share.
Oh. Let's see.
In Hangout.
Yeah, let me get back to Hangouts here.
Right.
Okay. Wait, I think you're seeing the old screen. Let me get rid of that.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. So, try this again. Do you see the site?
Yes, I do. Now here you can say create button on the top, red. You want to select the default theme, which is called blank slate, like really blank, empty slate. Scroll down.
Oh, there it is.
Blank slate is a clean, empty slate. Basically, lets you do whatever you want, but begins with a clean slate. So you want to get blank slate, blank template, and go. And that becomes your site. And here you can write whatever you feel like. And use Markdown. Indeed. So you can just say the edit button, upper right corner. There is a pen tool. That one will let you edit. And you can just press the E button to, to edit. In this window, you can straight type Markdown. Say hash and H1, hash and H2. And there we go.
Very nice. Could hardly be easier.
Yeah, it is really, really, really easy. I mean, I cannot simplify. It cannot be further simplified. And you can just hit the save button on the upper right corner, blue button, and go live. And you can publish the site to external world outside by clicking the share button, the blue share button, and make the site public. So click on it and make it public so the world can see. You change the properties and not here. Yeah, click the change button. Not this. There's a blue colored change button.
Blue color change. Oh, over here.
Yeah. And make it public on the web. And save. So this way anyone can view. And now you can go to member.cloudgenius/mel and that becomes visible externally. Does it? I don't see it yet. Page not found.
Not found, huh?
I think we have to name it by that specific name. Let's go back to that old place where we were in sharing and permissions. And here, pages, attachments, general, try general button on the left corner. And scroll down. Web address mapping. You can now map this site to, you can say mel.cloudgenius. Is that the idea?
Let me see. Access settings. Anyone who can view this site?
So scroll down a little and maybe above, up on top. Up on top there is a canonical URI, and right above or below that you will find a place to put your domain name or something. Scroll a little up and down, maybe. Down. In here, it's called web address mapping. That segment I want to read. Web address mapping. This is the default page your users will see when they visit your site. Your domain administrators can now map this site to a web address like this. I see what they're saying. So I need to do that change. Your domain admin can now map the site to a web address like mel.cloudgenius. So I need to do that part, apparently.
Okay.
I want to give you that ability to do it, but I don't know how yet. Web address mapping, so I'm doing that part, adding a new web address and saying mel, and here it goes to mel, and save. And then I need to put a CNAME entry. That's the reason why it doesn't work. I think I'll do that part in just a moment. Until that time, your URL should be what you see on the screen on top, which is not this.
Not that.
Not this. Just say without the mel part. Yeah, this one.
This one?
This should work. Yes. Enter. Yep.
That works. Okay. Nice. Okay, well, I'll go study that markdown format a little bit.
Yeah, that's interesting actually. I like it.
Very interesting. Okay.
Cool. And by the way, I think I can see your site in public. Now I need to log out and see if anybody else can also see the site. That part once I log into, or sort of log out of, and then see if I can still access your site. And yes, I can. So any public person can see your site right now on this URL. Anybody. Not the mel dot yet, but the other link you have.
Okay.
The other link, not this, but this. Yes, this is publicly accessible.
Okay.
You can start writing in markdown format and do something that you want to do.
Okay. I'll write something up today for class tomorrow.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
Okay.
We'll see you Monday.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your instruction.
You're welcome, sir.
Goodbye.
Bye.